It is the first day of summer, and the Mets are spending it in the place where it's always summer, in South Florida, where the Mets were denied a victory last night and hope that the new season brings them a win today. At Marlins Park in Miami, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball. Today the Mets play the Miami Marlins. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Miami. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez joins me in just a moment as the Mets play Game 3 of their 4-game series against the Marlins. Last night, Miami won it 3-2, and all the talk today is about the home plate collision rule and the way it helped the Marlins hang on to a victory. Twice the Mets had runners thrown out at the plate, but the one in question for the Mets was the one in the 8th inning. Eric Campbell got a base hit, a run scored, but David Wright was thrown out at the plate. He was out by a mile. That wasn't the question. The question was whether Jared Saltalamacchia, according to the new home plate blocking rules, allowed David Wright enough room to slide. Was his foot blocking too much of the plate before he had the ball? David Wright felt as though he did not have enough room to slide. That's what he told Terry Collins, and the umpires reviewed it, and they upheld the play and called David out. Here's a look at where the foot is before he catches the ball. And now as you roll forward, you see how much of the plate he took away. Now, David had the back part of the plate to slide at. Is that enough? The rule says you have to give the runner a lane. What that exactly means is unclear, and I think that's what has everybody confused.
Well, I went a little bit ballistic last night. My main concern about the rules is the ambiguity of it. I thought last night that Saltalamacchia was well within his rights, that really David wasn't even in the position to knock him down. There was plenty of avenue of him to slide into home plate. Now, remember one thing. The rule is that if a catcher's blocking the plate with the ball, which is legal, the runner can still knock him down, or you can slide into the runner. What I don't like now is that you got the catcher, the umpires, the runners all confused. They don't know what to do, and I think it's a possibility when you got a boom play and you got to make a snap judgment and you're running full speed trying to score a run, and you got the doubt in your mind on what am I supposed to do. That could create more injury, and it goes against what they're trying to prevent, is less injury.
So the Mets certainly reacted after the game last night. Mostly it was about not knowing exactly what to think about the rule.
Everybody was a little frustrated at the end of the game, including myself, and for a variety of reasons. So I'll leave it at that.
You don't ever get an explanation. All they say is the play stands. You don't ever get an explanation of what they saw or why they ruled it. And the umpires are as confused as anybody.
I don't quite understand it. And it's not, it's not the umpire's fault or the replay's fault, or, I think it's just a kind of a confusing thing in general.
I do have a couple of thoughts as general manager of the Mets that I can't really share tonight.
And, of course, what puts Sandy Alderson in such a difficult position is that he is chairman of the Rules Committee. However, the rule that's in place is not the one that the Rules Committee recommended. It's a rule that was negotiated between the Players Association and Major League Baseball, and one that you can be certain will evolve over the coming months and years. It's the Mets and Marlins on a Saturday afternoon in Miami. All the action coming your way on Pix 11. brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. Hurry into your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2014 models. By Verizon, introducing Verizon Fios Quantum TV, redefining what TV can be. That's powerful. By Toyota, let's go places. By the New York Lottery, hey, you never know. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on their most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. You can follow every Mets game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Mets.com today. Keys to the game brought to you by your Tri-State Kia retailers.
Well, they're very clever today. Pablo Ozuna, well, don't test that arm. You saw what happened last night. Win one for Dagipa. Okay, winless in his first 7 starts. Jacob. And 2 Cole for School. Who are these guys thinking of this? They are on top of their game. 17 innings pitched, no runs against the Mets here at home. That's over 2 seasons.
By the way, we know that Ozuna's name is Marcel. Pablo is his cousin. Jacob deGrom is going to bat 8th again today. More importantly, he'll look for his first big league win. Long overdue. First pitch coming up. Go places for the 3rd time on this road trip and the 3rd time ever in Mets history. Terry Collins will bat the pitcher 8th to get Curtis Granderson, who's got a very high on-base percentage this month, into the leadoff spot. And the Mets, who've gone 7 straight games scoring 3 runs or fewer, will try and do better today against New Rochelle native Tom Kohler.
And Tom Kohler went to Stony Brook. 5-5 on the year, as you see, his 15th start. His first 9 starts. 8th in the National League in earned run average. Last 5 starts, 1-2 with a 6.99 earned run average. It's been tough for him. Tough sled in the last 5 starts.
Curtis Granderson over the last 16 games has a .492 on base percentage. That's why he's batting leadoff, and he swings at the first pitch from Kohler and fouls it off, and we're underway in Miami. Granderson, Murphy, and Wright in the opening inning against Kohler, who the last time the Mets faced him 6 weeks ago shut him out for 8 innings. And the curveball from Kohler stays a little high, a ball and a strike.
He's a sinker ball pitcher, strike thrower.
Roof closed at Marlins Park. We've had some thunderstorms already today and probably more to come. Who's Hot brought to you by your local Ford dealer. For great deals on select vehicles, visit TriStateFord.com. Taking in the entire month of June, Curtis Granderson right near the top in on-base percentage. So Eric Young will bat 9th today, and Granderson on the leadoff spot. And he goes down swinging on the slider, and Kohler has a strikeout to start the day.
Oh, that's a pretty good one right there. Not a strike. Look at this big sweeper here. Tough one to lay off.
Well, you've already seen it. Kohler's got 2 different breaking balls, a curve and a slider, and they're both pretty good. It's one of the reasons he had so much success early this year. Lately, though, he's been hit pretty hard trying to get himself back in a groove. Here's Murphy. Back-to-back 2-hit games in this series for Murph. Gets him back to 300 for the year. Exactly. 90 hits puts him second in the National League.
He's 6th in batting coming into tonight's action, the late afternoon action. Actually get to have a normal dinner tonight. The game should be, I won't say when it should be over, but hopefully it won't be 10 o'clock.
Well, it was just a little over a year ago that the Mets and Marlins played a 20-inning game. So you really never know what time dinner is. Murphy lifts one to shallow center. And Jake Marisnick comes in to call. And there are 2 away.
And we'll take a look at the defense. That's the Marlin defense, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. I'll look that up. There goes the outfield again. Ed Lucas gets the start today. Echeverria has little elbow problems on his throwing elbow. That was a late scratch. Salta Lamacchia behind the plate. That's some tough names.
And what Keith was about to add was that Lucas is making just his 5th career start at shortstop.
That's right, 2nd of the season.
Very good. Here's David Wright, who has really perked up on this road trip. There's Ed Lucas. And Wright takes a strike. David 3 for 7 with a double and a home run in this series. And a ball of confusion at home plate last night. And that's what the world is today.
Good pitch right there. In and out. Fastball away. Sinker in. Kohler against left-handers. 195 batting average. Only 1 home run. Right-handers 261 with 8 home runs.
How do you figure?
That means to me he's hanging the slider. That's what that means with his sinker. That means that he's hanging that slide piece.
David has hit in 5 straight games with a couple of homers and a couple of doubles. Driven in a run in 4 straight games. So after a long dry spell, Wright appears to be back in some sort of a groove. Kohler deals 1-2. Throws a slider outside. Tom Kohler, now 27 years old. He'll be 28 next week. There's Lucas Duda, also 28, waiting on deck.
Made his debut in September 5th of 2012. Big kid.
Full count to Wright. Well, Kohler was not a highly touted pitcher. 18th round draft pick in 08. He's been a back of the rotation kind of guy for the Marlins, but has worked his way up the food chain.
I like his stuff. They say what's hurt him is he's had a bad inning in a lot of his starts where he just can't get out of it.
Well, with the Marlins ace, Jose Fernandez, out for the year, it's provided opportunities for some of their young pitchers. Alvarez has taken the bull by the horns. Mets saw him last night. He's become their ace in absentia. And, guys like Kohler have been able to pitch effectively. Nate Eovaldi. And now they've called up Andrew Heaney, who we saw Thursday night. Their top left-handed prospect who made his debut.
Well, both Eovaldi and Kohler have had equally tough the last 5 starts or so.
For Call retreating, called off by Stanton, and if you're for Call, you better get out of the way of that freight train.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 go the Mets in the top of the first.
It's like Mutt and Jeff.
Bases. And Danny Echeverria, the starting shortstop, a late scratch, so Ed Lucas slides into the lineup for the first time in this series. Otherwise, the same group that's been out there for the first 2 games, which the Mets and Marlins have split. Now Jacob deGrom looks for that elusive first victory.
Well, it's the same story as Kohler. You look the first 4 starts for deGrom, his earned run average was 2.42. It really was pitching terrific, but 0-2. And his last 3 starts, 0-2 with a 7.80, so he's been struggling. And we'll look at the Metsy defense, and that's brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on your car insurance. And I'll get to the outfield. Chris Young in center field. Wilmer Flores at shortstop. Go ahead. And behind the plate, Taylor Teagarden.
Too slow for you? Rafael Furcal will lead off for the Marlins. Furcal led off the game yesterday with a triple and scored what for a long time was the only run of the game, and he slaps one down toward right, who was playing in. He barehands it and throws him out by a stride. Nicely done by David Wright, who was unable to make a barehand play on a different kind of a ball last night. This time made a beautiful play to get Furcal.
Well, this was the one you wanted to make that play with the bare hand. The one last night was hit a little harder. And that's a nice play and gets the speedy Furcal out.
So 1 pitch and 1 retired for deGrom. And now here's Marisnick, moved up to the 2 spot in the order with Echeverria out. Marisnick 1 for 5 in the series. Now, if you remember last night when the Marlins expanded their lead from 1-0 to 3-0 in the 7th inning, Marisnick stole second and third and scored on a throwing error by Anthony Recker. But on the steal of second, we showed a replay that pretty clearly showed that Marisnick was tagged out by Tejada with his hand off the base, and Tejada tagged him on his arm.
He came off the base after the slide.
Right. So we did a little investigating today because, you know, the Mets, Terry didn't come out of the dugout and Tejada didn't say anything. I talked to the Mets video guys, and they said they didn't see this particular replay until it was too late. But the problem is on a play like that the player has got to say to the dugout, hey, I got him. You should come out and let's take a look at it. Or Tejada never said anything.
Or you can beef with the umpire, and that'll get Terry out. Because Terry's going to know right away, well, he feels that they had him, and, you know, what does it hurt to go out there, turn your back to the outfield, and wait for your video replay team to give you the up or down sign.
Do their video magic. Breaking ball from deGrom fouled off. 2-2 to Marisnick with Giancarlo Stanton on deck. Anyway, that was huge because if the Mets had challenged that play and gotten it overturned, the Marlins wouldn't have scored at all in that inning and would have been 1-0 instead of 3-0. Two from deGrom. Got him. Good fastball by Jacob to get Marisnick for the second out.
Very good fastball upstairs. And this is what I like about deGrom, is he's not afraid to challenge hitters. Now, that was right down the middle. You don't want to get it down the middle, but it was upstairs. Marisnick swung right through it.
You know, Keith gave you some of the recent numbers on deGrom. Here's some of the deeper numbers. Here's Giancarlo Stanton taking outside. His last 4 starts, his first 4 starts, 26 innings, 16 hits, 25 strikeouts, almost a strikeout per inning. The last 3 starts, 15 innings, 26 hits, and only 9 strikeouts.
Right.
So the hits are up, strikeouts are down. So clearly there's been a huge difference in his performance lately.
And also with runners in scoring position, the hitters have been teeing off on him. Now the Cardinals really tattooed him.
Yeah.
That was just one you throw away. It was a bad start.
Behind Stanton 2-0, and a curveball bounced towards short. Flores circles in on it. Avoided the short of bat and makes the play on Stanton, and deGrom has himself a 1-2-3 opening inning. You can put it on the kindling pile.
Never see bats sliver like that.
After 1 in Miami, no score. fish tank located right behind home plate. Fish is swimming rather slowly, isn't he? Is that a slow motion fish? There's the fish tank with the shatterproof glass. Would have to be, right, to protect those little fishies.
Oh, I would think so.
Lucas Duda leads off the second inning with no score. Lucas 0 for 3 in this series. It'll be Duda, then Chris Young and Wilmer Flores for the Mets in the second against Tom Kohler. This is the third time the Mets have faced Kohler this year. The first time they handled him pretty well. That was in New York in late April. He matched up against Dylan G, and Mets got 4 runs in 5 innings against him. But then the second time around, he was marvelous here in early May with 8 scoreless innings, and you see his lifetime numbers against the Mets. 7 starts now against the Mets, including today. That's 3 more than he has against anybody else. Just a coincidence for a New York kid. Chris Young waiting on deck.
Lucas coming into the game hitting .239 and just really hasn't had a hot streak where you just can't get him out. You know, every hitter gets that. Just hasn't happened.
Kohler's had the good slider working early. That's his second strikeout.
That's why he's more effective against left-handers, Gary. That slider right there, it's a big sweeper.
Now, you know, when you watch that as a layman and you see that slider break off the plate and the left-hand hitter swing at it, is there any key for you as a left-hand hitter to be able to lay off that pitch?
It's where when it leaves his hand and you start tracking it, not hunting, tracking. You find an area on the out. It starts out whether it's down the middle or outer third or quarter of the plate, wherever it starts. You've got to get that spot with that ball. You see it, and you realize, okay, it breaks this much. It's got to start here to be a strike. If it's more towards me, it's going to be a ball in. Now, easier said than done. Does that make sense to you?
Well, it goes back to something we talk about often, and that is pitch recognition.
Yep.
If you don't know if it's a slider, that obviously makes a difference. And,
yes.
And some hitters are better able to read the spin on the ball coming out of the pitcher's hand than others.
Correct. But his breaking ball is not like a real sharp, what they used to call off the table curveball slider. It's more of a sweeper, so you should be able to read that. And he's going to throw you left hand here. He's going to throw you that sinker away.
Three and two to Chris. Now they just flipped from Eric Young's numbers to Chris Young's numbers. A little Young confusion on the Marlins scoreboard. I was a little surprised today to see the lineup and not see Kirk Neuenhuis's name in there. Had a big pinch hit double last night and facing a right-hander.
I got to believe that he'll be in the lineup tomorrow. Right-handers throwing tomorrow.
Chris Young hits one out to left, and last night's hero, Marcell Ozuna, comes in to get it, 2 out. Lost in all the conversation about the home plate collision rule and all of that, the marvelous throw that Ozuna made to end the game.
Plural throws.
Well, I mean, the one in the 8th was good, but the one in the 9th, I mean, came out of left field.
I thought they were both sparkling, to be honest with you. What a cannon for an arm he's got.
He became the first Miami Marlin or Florida Marlin ever to throw out a runner at the plate, outfielder, to throw out a runner at the plate to end a game in a regular season game in the Marlins' history. And this is their 21st season, 22nd season.
Well, I don't
Now,
think...
one of the most famous games in Marlins history was in 2003 in their run to the World Series. They clinched their division series against the Giants on a throw to the plate by Jeff Conine to gun down J.T. Snow. But that was a postseason game. But they had never done it to end a regular season game until Ozuna did that last night. Wilmer Flores hits it sharply. Knocked down by Furcal. And that retires the side. 6 up and 6 down for Tom Kohler to start his day. No score in Miami. Well, there's plenty of water around here in Miami.
Sure is.
Plenty of places to park your boat. Plenty of places to sell your boat.
That boat's everywhere. I've seen it before.
That same one? We take you inside Marlins Park, where the roof is closed today. And the Flamingos are lying in wait.
Well, they got a little action last night.
Well, they went off, but it turned out that the home run that the sculpture celebrated was overturned.
It was premature.
Garrett Jones hit one down the right field line that was initially ruled a home run and then overturned. Casey McGee leads off and takes a strike from DeGrom as we start the home second.
David Wright's home run kind of rattled their cage a little bit.
I mean, think about all the plays that were reviewed and not reviewed and what impact that had on last night's game. I mean, you had the foul home run that was overturned. You had the play at second that the Mets
did not,
for some reason, did not challenge, and then you had the two plays at the plate. 1-1 to McGee, and DeGrom gets it well inside on him, and he hits it foul. Eighth big league start for DeGrom. The last one was his most puzzling. 12 hits and 4 1/3 innings against the Cardinals as he throws a fastball wide 2-2.
The Cardinals have a pretty disciplined lineup. They're last in the league in home runs, so they're a bunch of line drive hitters.
And once the bleeding started, he could not put a tourniquet on it. It was a barrage.
Well, the same thing happened with Nice in his start in St. Louis. He couldn't get that third out, and he made some plays in the field that got him in trouble, but John couldn't put an end to it.
3-2 to McGee, who's 9th in the National League in batting at .310. And he takes it outside, ball 4. First base runner of the game for either side. So with the runner aboard, Jared Saltalamacchia will come up. He was a central figure last night. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
You know, there's all this talk about what is the rule, what constitutes blocking the plate, what doesn't. But what doesn't really come into play, or people don't really talk about too much, is the fact that these guys, especially the catchers, this is something that they've been working on their whole lives. It's just instinct at this point. Jared Saltalamacchia told me on both the plays in the 8th and the 9th inning, he didn't have time to figure out where he was situated, where his back leg was going. Was he blocking the plate? Was he not blocking the plate? He said on both occasions, he just tried to make the bang-bang play, and then afterwards he started thinking, wait a second, was I where it was supposed to be? He actually thought in the 8th inning he felt pretty confident that that play was not going to be overturned. Interestingly enough, though, he was pretty unsure about that 9th inning play on Neuenhuis. He thought that he did block the plate a little earlier. At least there was that potential for the overturn.
Off the glove of Duda, then dropped by Murphy. He's got to force it second base if he can get it there with right covering, and he gets the out. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a play like that before. A carom off Duda's glove. Murphy looked like he was going to catch it on the fly, then didn't. And it winds up being a 3-4-5 force play at second base.
Well, I can see Murph not making the play. Wow. I think you've seen everything. I show that shot of Murph with his hat on sideways again. That says it all.
That was just crazy.
And there's nothing that McGee can do. He's trying to get out of the way.
Well, he thought that Duda was going to catch the line drive. So it's a 3-4-5 force play, and now Garrett Jones showing bunt with the Mets over shifting.
So is that a 3-4-6?
3-4-5.
3-4-5.
Yeah. It's not one you see every day. Jones had that home run taken away. Today is his 33rd birthday. He's hoping for better luck. Ball on a strike to Jones. Just to follow up on what Steve was talking about with Saltalamacchia and his feelings about his position and the collision rule as it stands. And again, Jones thinking about trying to bunt for a hit and fouls it off. 1-2. Our friend Dave Lennon of Newsday got to talk to Joe Torre today, and of course Joe is the guy who is in charge of enforcing these rules for Major League Baseball. And Joe's take was that Saltalamacchia was positioned legally on both plays, and he reiterated that both Wright and Nieuwenhuis, because Saltalamacchia was blocking the play with the ball, each was within his rights to run over the catcher. Jones caught looking for the second out. 2 strikeouts for DeGrom. And I think that's the interesting part, Keith, is that as you look at this fastball on the outside corner, that lost in all the conversation about the new rule is the fact that the runner is still within his rights to knock over the catcher if the catcher's blocking the plate with the ball.
And you can slide. So my feeling is this. On a play like last night where the runner's trying to score and the left fielder throws, the play's behind the runner. So he can't see where the throw is. He needs help from his on-deck circle, the batter in the on-deck circle, number one, to tell him to slide or not. More so now with these new rules, when you don't see hitters doing that in the on-deck circle a lot today. They're going to need to do that. When in doubt, when I'm fearful of injury, I would just instruct all my kids, minor leaguers up, because you got to teach this from the beginning up. That's the end of the inning. Is when in doubt, slide. And if someone's there, knock him down. If he's in the way, knock him down.
Slide into the catcher's foot if that foot is in your way. Well, this is one you don't see every day. No new rule for this one. Just kick it and find it. And Murph does. And gets DeGrom through the inning. Miami, perfect place for a Cuban sandwich, complete with dance moves. Don't forget the pickles.
That's quick work.
Well, whatever the Cuban equivalent of Benihana's is, he could work there.
He's made a few in his day.
That's some outstanding work there.
You know what? You're doing your job, and you might as well have fun, right? Make it fun.
Just don't hurt yourself.
I like that move.
Third inning, Taylor Teagarden leads off against Tom Kohler in a scoreless game. Teagarden started the first game of the series Thursday night. Anthony Recker played last night. Teagarden's 8th start for the Mets. It'll be Teagarden, then DeGrom, the pitcher, hitting the 8-hole. And Eric Young for the Mets in the third. Teagarden hits it sharply on one hop, and Ed Lucas makes the play, one away. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Atlantic City. Do anything, do everything, do AC. DeGrom 5 hits in 12 at bats. Third time the Mets have hit the pitcher, 8th all on this road trip. Second time they've done it with DeGrom.
It's obvious what Terry's trying to do with the lineup. DeGrom's hitting over 400. Swings the bat well, but he's trying to load up with two. This was the whole purpose when La Russa did this, was you've got a leadoff hitter in Young, and really Granderson can lead off, and he's trying to load up in that bottom of the order to the top.
And I think that's a worthwhile pursuit. You're trying to create more RBI opportunities for Murphy and Wright.
Correct.
Here are the downsides. One is that if you have men on base, then those 6 and 7 hitters, they get pitched differently with the pitcher in the 8 holes and strikes out on 3 pitches. That would be one. The other is you get to a point in the game where you say you're down by a run, you might have to bat for your pitcher earlier in the game, an inning earlier than you might otherwise.
Yep.
Those would be the two real downsides of hitting the pitcher 8.
It would have had more of an effect, I think, years ago when pitchers were going 9. But I guess, with pitchers 100 pitch counts, they're going 6 innings.
Right, but you know what I mean? If you're down by a run in the 6th inning, say, and your pitcher has plenty of gas left in the tank, you might be forced to bat for him instead of giving him that extra inning.
Yep.
Eric Young hitting in the 9 hole. Eric's been swinging the bat well since coming back from the disabled list. 6 hits and 19 at bats.
This is his 6th game.
Has to move his feet. A ball and a strike. There's Granderson in the leadoff spot, waiting on deck. Today's AT&T fan photo. We invite you to tweet your fan photo using hashtag #PixFanPhoto. Brought to you by AT&T. Babies and pets always favored. There's a strike at the knees. 2-2 to Young.
Well, Kohler's about 1 out away from running his string of scoreless innings to 20 against the Mets here at Marlins Field Park.
Two to EY, and it's hit to the shortstop Lucas. Close play, gets him by a stride, side retired. Mets are out 1-2-3. 9 up and 9 down for Kohler, no score. Celebrate our nation's independence at Citi Field Friday, July 4th with a post-game fireworks show presented by Citi following the Mets game against the Texas Rangers at 7:10 p.m. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. Neither team's had a hit over the first 2.5. Ed Lucas will lead off the home third for Miami. First appearance in the series for the 32-year-old from Dartmouth, who was a rookie last year at age 31 and did a nice job for Miami. Missed the first month of this season when he broke a hand hit by a pitch late in spring training, so he's had only 88 at bats. Bounces one toward the middle, and Flores can't get it. And Lucas has the first base hit for either side.
Little Baltimore chop up the middle. See Flores' reaction there. Didn't get quite a good jump on that.
Well, you're just not going to get the same range with Flores that you get with Tejada, who made a spectacular play on a similarly hit ball last night. So Kohler will go up there to bunt. 2 for 21 with 3 sacrifices this year. And he pushes one along the line foul. So Cincinnati has gotten in front of Toronto 3-0 in the second inning, which means the Blue Jays have them right where they want them.
Yeah.
Last night, Toronto came from 8 runs down. They were down 8-0 early, came back to beat Cincinnati 14-9. That doesn't happen very often. Bunts through that pitch, and it's 0-2. Edwin Encarnacion is on some spectacular tear. Went basically 0 for April. Hit 2 3-run homers last night, one that probably hasn't come down yet. Oh, 2 to Kohler, and he bunts strike 3. Third strikeout for DeGrom. One down in the home third. Mets upcoming schedule brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. Hurry in for great deals on the 2014 models. Mets play one more game here tomorrow. They go home for 2 against the team with the best record in baseball, the Oakland Athletics, Tuesday and Wednesday night. Then right back out on the road for 4 in Pittsburgh and 3 in Atlanta. Here's Rafael Furcal, who bounced one to David Wright, who made a nice barehand play and threw him out his first time up. Right now the Marlins are trying to figure out how much Rafael Furcal has left. They signed him to be their second baseman, didn't get to play the first 2+ months of the season because of some leg problems. Derek Dietrich played most of the second base, struggled in the field, but hit well. Now he's in the minor leagues, and Furcal is playing every day. I mean, Furcal in his time was a terrifically valuable leadoff hitter.
Yes.
Question is whether his time is now at age 36. Hit a couple of balls solidly last night. There goes the runner. It's hit slowly and foul.
Like a little hit and run going on there with Mike Redmond. Looks like Ed Lucas didn't know where the ball was.
DeGrom ahead on Furcal, 1-2. Slapped to short. Flores to Murphy. On to first. In time. Double play. And Furcal comes up limping after crossing the bag. So Rafael Furcal, who missed all that time with a groin and a hamstring, looks like he's hurt his leg again.
It looked like he was running funny before he touched the bag, Gare. Right there. Yep.
Oh, too bad. Mets turn the double play. Still no score. Miami, Rafael Furcal forced to leave the game, trying to beat out this potential double play ball.
Well, here it is right here, and right before, and we've seen that over the years. You get older, boy, and you start getting hurt, Gary. It just seems to snowball. And I think it's the body telling you maybe it's time to head for the last roundup.
Well, it's been a rough day for the Marlins and their middle infield. Danny Echeverria, a late scratch today after he felt his elbow sore during batting practice, and now Furcal has to come out of the game, so both their starting shortstop and second baseman down on the same day. Curtis Granderson leads off in the 4th inning, takes a curveball from Tom Kohler for a strike. Kohler went perfectly through the Mets order first time around, striking out 3. One of those was Granderson leading off the game. And a changeup in for a strike, and it's 0-2. Daniel Murphy on deck, then David Wright. Mets continue in an offensive rut. Mets have scored 3 runs or fewer 7 straight games. That's their longest such streak this year. They had one similar last year. Foul tip held by Saltalamacchia. 10 up and 10 down for Kohler, his 4th strikeout.
Backdoor slider. Under it. Curtis drops that back shoulder. He's a dead low ball hitter. He has difficulty upstairs.
So 1 out in the 4th. Now Daniel Murphy, who flied to center his first time. Well, Mets have had very little fortune against Tom Kohler. Big contingent of Met fans on hand here in Miami. Murphy gets under one to center field, and Marisnick slides back. 2 out. You know, I was thinking after last night's game that the Mets were done in last night by an injury to one of the Marlins starters. Christian Yelich normally plays left field for Miami, and Ozuna plays center. If Yelich, who doesn't have nearly the arm Ozuna does, was playing left field last night, there's Yelich. Mets win the game, right?
That would be true, because Ozuna would be in center.
It's funny how those things work out. We saw Ozuna's arm last year. In fact, we referenced the 20-inning game as Wright picks up the Mets' first hit of the day after Kohler had retired 11 in a row. So David's now hit in 6 straight games, and the Mets have a 2-out base runner.
Fastball down the middle. David's going the other way. Stays nice and level on that belt-high fastball. That's the David's right swing we've come to know and love.
So Tom Kohler will pitch out of the stretch for the first time today. Lucas Duda struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. And takes a curveball for a strike. Anyway, the 20-inning game last year, Ozuna was playing right field for the Marlins, and in the 12th inning of that game, he threw out Murphy at home plate.
Right.
So the Mets had experienced the wrath of Ozuna's right arm before. Ball and a strike to Duda.
Well, they say he's been working with Andre Dawson as far as getting his setup for throws. He's always said that he was kind of rushing his feet. So he made sure last night when he was coming in, you always want to rush the throw, and it's all the key is just to relax so you can get the maximum velocity on your throw. If you rush it, it's not going to get there.
Well, he certainly got behind the ball last night. In the words of Steve Cishek, the pitcher for the Marlins, who fully expected the tying run to score, he said Ozuna ran all the way back to the Clevelander, which is the nightclub behind the left field fence, and then came dashing in to catch it and make that throw on the move. And Kohler just befuddling Duda. Right at first and 2 out. 1 and 2 to Duda. And Lucas takes the fastball in tight. 2 and 2. It's been a struggle for Kohler lately. Last 5 starts, an ERA just under 7. But he's made it look pretty routine this afternoon. Curveball misses, full count.
Similar follow through to Henderson Alvarez right there. If you notice, Gare went down on the knee on that last breaking pitch.
By the way, remember Alvarez last night in the 3rd inning had that little problem with his leg. Said he felt a little strain in his hamstring, but it turned out to be no big deal, and he pitched into the 7th. Wright gets set to run. 3 and 2 and 2 out. And Duda takes inside ball 4. So Kohler got ahead of him and then lost him. And the Mets have 2 men on. Here's that Ozuna throw again from the 9th inning last night.
I thought that this was ball game tied, but you notice, you kids, how he got that weight going forward on a high fly ball, and he rushed back and got all of his momentum going towards home plate, which gives you all the more power on your throw.
It was interesting right at the beginning of that replay, seeing Cishek's reaction. He thought for sure he had given up the game-tying sacrifice fly, but
he gets a save.
Wasn't to be.
To take his left fielder out to dinner.
Well, Mike Dunn, who pitched the 8th inning, might do the same. He helped out both of them. 1-0 to Chris Young, who flied to left his first time up. 2 out and 2 on. Little jam shot into center field, and that'll fall for a hit. Here comes Wright. The throw is going to go to 3rd from Marisnick, and now Duda is hung up. And the tag put on by McGee, but the first run of the game comes home. Chris Young with a blue pit to drive in David Wright. And the Mets take a 1-0 lead against Tom Kohler into the bottom of the 4th inning. Run of the game, but they could have had a chance for more, but for some rather inexplicable base running.
Well, number 1, there's 2 outs. David Wright's going to go on contact. Number 2, it's a bloop city. Look at Dude. I don't know what he's thinking. He didn't even look to see. And you run your team out of an inning. I mean, you could have had a howitzer out in center field. Why is he looking for Tuffle? The play is his. It's in front of him. I mean, you don't need help.
There's no way Marisnick's going to throw home. David Wright's pretty fast. It's 2 out. He's running on contact.
Those are baseball instincts. That's just a poor base running play right there. That's all there is to it.
Jake Marisnick struck out his first time up. And he pops this one up into shallow center. And it's going to be Young taking charge. 1 out. First run of the game brought to you by the New York Lottery. Hey, you never know. Chris Young driving it in. David Wright scoring it. You know the old saying for Jacob deGrom. There's your run, buddy.
Oh, well, give me some more, guys.
Here's Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton got ahead in the count 2-0, swung at a curveball, and his bat broke in a way that you don't often see. End to end.
Well, they use such light bats today, and the different wood is not as pliable as the white ash. And I don't know what kind of bat. There it is right there. It's a Mizuno. I don't know. I do not know what kind of wood Mizuno uses. But I never saw a bat break like that. And we see it a lot in today's game.
And Stanton goes around 1-2. Curveball hit hard, right on the backhand, and it slips right underneath. And Stanton is safe. Well, hard hit ball, but a play that David certainly should have made.
It's got to be an E5. David's had a tough series here with the glove. Oh, he came up too quick.
So an error charged to David Wright. A 1-out base runner for the Marlins with Casey McGee coming up. It's David's 9th error of the year. McGee drew a walk his first time up. Got to watch out for Stanton. He'll sneak a stolen base every now and again. And the sinker misses to McGee. 1-0.
The Mets made one error last night, but there was a rule change. It really should have been 2 errors. A scoring change, I should say. That was back in that 7th inning, Gary.
They gave Echeverria credit for a double when Wright tried to make that bare hand play. First charge as an error and then changed. The delayed attempt by Stanton, and he's thrown out by T. Garden. Terrific play by T. Garden to recover and gun down Stanton for the 2nd out.
Very nice play by, and Stanton. That was a poor choice right there too. Maybe he thought the ball got by T. Garden.
Well, they're ruling that a caught stealing, but I think that should not be a caught stealing. I think he was going off the ball, hitting the dirt. McGee hits it well to center, chasing Young way back near the wall, and it's off the fence. McGee, who has only 1 home run this year, came pretty close to his 2nd, but he'll settle for a 2-out double.
His 17th double of the year, and in most ballparks, this is a home run. 418 to dead central here. By far the biggest center field in the National League. Ball crushed. One of the few balls deGrom has got up today. He's been down in the strike zone.
Well, that caught stealing, or whatever you want to call it, looks huge right now. So now McGee at 2nd with 2 out, and Saltalamacchia the batter. Hit a bullet off Duda's glove that turned into a 3-4-5 force play his first time up. Change up from deGrom to start him off.
This ball is belt high, inner half. McGee way off the plate. Gets the full barrel of the bat on it.
Tying run at 2nd with 2 out. And Saltalamacchia fouls off the fastball. 0-2. Well, McGee very famously has not been trying to hit home runs this year. He got as much of it as he's going to get. That was a bolt.
418 seems a bit unfair.
With the high fence to boot.
Yep. I would.
Strike 3 call. Saltalamacchia caught looking, and DeGrom escapes trouble in the 4th. 4 strikeouts for Jacob DeGrom. He's got himself a 1-0 lead after 4 in Miami. Photo. It's on its way. And there it is. Born to Believe. You betcha. See, Dad looks like he's from the You Gotta Believe era. Passing it along. Sharing Tug McGraw's famous credo. Generation after generation.
Oh, it's too early to be tuckered out. Oh, he's not tuckered, or she is not tuckered out.
Wilmer Flores leads off in the 5th inning. Flores getting the start at shortstop today. First start since Wednesday. Grounded out to second base his first time up. 6, 7, and 8 in the Mets order. That's Flores, Teagarden, and DeGrom batting against Kohler. Other way on the play where Stanton was thrown out in the last half inning, they have taken away the caught stealing. It's merely a put out 2 to 4 since he was not running on the pitch.
Correctly.
1 and 2 now to Flores.
I think that Stanton thought that because Teagarden went down on his knees, he thought the ball got by him.
He snagged it nicely on a hop. And they made a nice throw to get Stanton, who's got pretty good speed, not exceptional speed. Flores loops one out to right center, and on comes Stanton. 1 out.
You know, Stanton covers a lot of ground out in right field. He's got those long legs, and he's very graceful when he runs, but he's very deceptive. He's got very long strides.
Those Gary Maddox strides.
Ah, good call.
Not the outfielder that Maddox was. He was a Gold Glove winner.
He was the Secretary of Defense.
You know Ralph Kiner's line about Gary Maddox.
Tell the folks.
Said 3/4 of the world is covered by water, and the other is covered by Gary Maddox. Here's Taylor Teagarden.
It's a great line.
Yeah, it is. Curveball in for a strike to Teagarden.
Well, that kind of tells you that he's
cut.
Oh boy.
Now the 0-2. And it's up and away to Teeguarden. Well, the day of decision is coming very soon for Teeguarden or Recker. Travis d'Arnaud will probably be back with the Mets when they get home on Tuesday or when they get to Pittsburgh on Thursday.
He had another big night last night.
3 for 4 last night.
That's his second straight 3-hit game. Strike 3 there on Teeguarden.
He's hitting .458 over 12 games with 6 homers and 15 RBIs.
And also throw in 6 doubles. An on-base percentage of .500.
Yeah, so he's doing okay.
Of his 12 games he's played down in Las Vegas, 8 of them have been multi-hit games.
Here's DeGrom batting 8th in the order, takes a strike. Well, the goal is that when Travis d'Arnaud comes back, that he never have to go down again.
Of course.
And the Mets might, if everything works out correctly, soon have themselves an embarrassment of riches behind the plate, because Kevin Plawecki is coming along very, very quickly. He has been tearing the cover off the ball in Double-A at Binghamton.
So maybe they call up d'Arnaud and call up Plawecki.
DeGrom strikes out for the second time. That's 6 for Kohler. That gets us halfway here in Miami. DeGrom and the Mets with a 1-0 lead. Was brought to you by Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. Get to Citi Field Saturday, July 5th, when the Mets take on the Texas Rangers at 7:15 p.m. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Mets floppy hat courtesy of Citi. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Now Jacob deGrom working with a 1-0 lead. This is his 8th major league start, and he's looking for his first victory. DeGrom is the only pitcher in Mets history whose first 7 big league games have all been starts, none of them resulting in a win. So he's trying to break that stretch, and he's on the right track with Garrett Jones leading off on the home 5th. Foul tips the fastball, 0-1. Jones went down looking his first time up. Ozuna and Lucas to follow, 6, 7, and 8 in the order for Miami. That's put on the full shift against Jones, who showed bunt a couple of times during his first at bat.
I don't think he'll do it this time. He wound up striking out.
I think that if the left-hand hitters who are being subjected to the shifts, and the shifts are more and more prevalent in baseball every year, if they're going to be efficient at trying to beat it as Jones goes down on strikes for the second time, there's going to have to be a lot more practicing of the bunt. and not just practicing in batting practice, but practicing against live pitching. You know what I mean? Like they do in spring training, where they face live pitching. How else are they going to learn to get a bunt down and be effective against that shift? I mean, these are guys who are not used to bunting.
Correct.
Marcell Ozuna grounded out to second base his first time up.
Now, I must clarify what I said before we went to break, and you were talking about Pilecki wearing it out in Double-A. When I said call him up, I meant let him move up to Triple-A and take Darno's spot.
Well, the Mets have just made a series of promotions within their organizations, moving some of their prospects up the chain, and I would think that would be the next move.
Lee Mazzelli's son, one of them?
Yeah, he went from Savannah to St. Lucie at a home run his first game, L.J. Mazzilli. But also, Mazzilli took the spot of Dilson Herrera, the kid the Mets got from Pittsburgh last year, along with Vic Black. He went from St. Lucie up to Binghamton, having a good year.
Well, the Mets right now are obvious they need to get some everyday players seasoned in that farm system and get them on the track up to the bigs. Got a wealth of riches in young arms.
DeGrom behind in the count for a rare time today. 3-1 to Ozuna, and he comes inside and he missed for ball 4. Second walk given up by DeGrom. Well, Ozuna, part of that extremely talented young Marlins outfield. They've got 4 guys when they're all healthy. Marisnik up here because of the injury to Yelich.
Well, Ozuna I liked from the get-go last year. Yelich we haven't seen enough, but he's very talented, and we all know about Stanton. So,
I mean, they've got a chance to have something very special here over the next few years, much as the Pirates do with their trio of McCutchen, Marte, and Polanco. Here's Lucas, who has one of the 2 hits for Miami, a single to center in the 3rd. Mets will see the Pirates next week. Their first look at Gregory Polanco, who I believe has hit in 10 straight games to start his major league career. This is as far as DeGrom went in his last start. Got knocked out after 4 1/3 in St. Louis. It's been a different kind of day for him today. And Lucas takes a strike.
He's keeping the ball down and hitting the corners, moving it in and out nicely. Only 55 pitches, Gary. Very economical.
Took him 91 to get through 4 1/3 that last start. The 12 hits he allowed. Only 2 hits today. Lucas rifles one into center field, and he's got his second hit of the day. Always works out that way, right?
Doesn't it?
Lucas was not in the original lineup. Echeverria was scratched, and Lucas is 2 for 2.
He hit this ball. Well struck, young man.
So Ivy Leaguer hit that ball.
So a bunt situation again for Kohler. The first time he failed to get the bunt down, so we'll call 3rd strike.
So the second straight inning, the Marlins have gotten a runner into scoring position. See the bunt defense. Kohler bunts. Teagarden's got to play at 3rd, and he gets the force there. Nicely handled by Teagarden, his 2nd assist. Gunned down Stanton in the last inning, and now cuts down Ozuna, the lead man.
Well, he shook up the worms right there.
Nice play. Very alertly, the catcher that has the play right in front of him.
So 2 out and 2 on. And now it's Jeff Baker batting for the first time. Baker took over for Rafael Furcal, who injured his leg trying to beat out a double play in the 3rd inning. Baker appeared last night as a pinch hitter and then stayed in, grounded into a double play, and struck out. He came up against Josh Edgin in the 6th inning with 1st and 3rd and 1 out. Edgin fell behind him 2-0 and then got him to hit the double play grounder to Murphy. It was a big moment for the Mets last night. And he laid off 2-0. Jake Marisnick would be next. DeGrom was able to work his way out of trouble in the 4th inning, trying to do the same here in the 5th. Behind, though, on Baker, 2-0. And 3-0. There's a strike, 3-1. Lucas at second, Kohler at first with 2 out. DeGrom behind in the count, 3-1. And Baker bounces the breaking ball foul. Jacob DeGrom just turned 26 years old on Thursday. New calendar year for him. Looking for that big W. Runners go, 3-2. Baker lifts one out to right center, easy for Granderson, and that retires the side. DeGrom works his way out of trouble for a 2nd straight inning. We've played 5 now in Miami. 1 run holding up for DeGrom. 1-0 New York. Afternoon. A 1-0 lead as we go to the 6th inning. He's kept his pitch count down. He's walked 2, struck out 5.
He's gotten ahead of the hitters, kept the ball down, and using both sides of the plate.
It's the best way to start your weekday. Catch the crew on the Pix 11 Morning News, where every story hits home. Eric Young Jr. batting ninth in the order. He'll lead off for the Mets in the 6th inning. The Mets have had only 2 hits, but they had them flanking a walk in the 4th inning. David Wright singled with 2 out due to walk. Chris Young looped a single to get him in. Those have been the only 3 Met base runners on the day, and so far enough for the Mets, who are trying to figure out a way to scratch out a run here or there. It is the first day of summer, and June 21st also means it is Shannon Ford's birthday, and Shannon is one of our favorite people, and we just want to wish her a happy birthday. Treasured member of the Mets Media Relations Department. So wherever you are, Shannon, hope you're having a wonderful birthday today. Figures that Shannon and Summer would go together. Eric Young grounded out to short his first time up. Kohler has walked 1 and struck out 6. And he fires outside, ball 1. Curtis Granderson next. Daniel Murphy behind him. And Kohler behind 2-0.
I don't mind this pitcher hitting 8th with Young in the lineup with Granderson leading off.
DeGrom batting 8th has struck out in both his at-bats today.
I'm wondering if when Lagares comes back, if Terry will use this option.
Put Lagares in the 9-hole?
Or either one, Lagares or Eric Young.
Here's a strike, 3-1. Well, I think the reason that Terry likes this right now is because Granderson has been getting on base so frequently. Problem is that weakens the middle of your batting order.
Surely does.
And there's ball 4, and Eric Young, working as that double leadoff hitter in the 9-hole, draws a leadoff walk. Second walk given up by Kohler. I mean, that's what American League teams do, right? They put a leadoff type hitter in that 9 spot,
right.
So you basically have a double leadoff situation.
Well, yeah, when they have the DH, right.
Well, Granderson hit leadoff for most of his tenure in Detroit, so he's certainly comfortable with that role. The Mets, though, signed him to be a cleanup hitter, so it's a bit of a change of plan if he becomes a more regular leadoff man. Today he's been up twice and struck out both times, and gets tied up by the slider, but it missed, ball 1. Eric Young at first base, 17 stolen bases this year. He's been caught only once. Even with all the time that EY has missed, and he was out for what, 3 weeks with the hamstring, he's still 4th in the league in stolen bases. There he goes.
He's got it.
Saltalamacchia's throw is too late. And Young has the stolen base, his 18th of the season.
He is so explosive. And stolen bases is all about the jump, but still, they've got to be explosive. Those first 2 steps. Got to power out of that stance. Clearly, straight Lou Brock, head right into the bag, stand-up slide.
So a runner in scoring position for Granderson, and he takes inside 3-0.
He's so quick. He accelerates.
Gets the full speed in such a hurry.
Yep.
Like a sprinter coming out of the blocks. 3-0 to Granderson, and he pulls one foul. So Granderson, who, as we mentioned last night, has twice this year hit home runs on 3-0 pitches. Did it once at Yankee Stadium, once in San Francisco. given the green light again on 3-0.
Now, Terry's just trying to push every button to get this club to score runs. They have yet, it's been 7 games now in a row without scoring more than 3 runs.
Right. But what happened there with Granderson, I think, is something you see happen a lot with hitters on 3-0 when they swing. They get a little over anxious, get a little too quick.
Yes, and your veteran hitters are the ones you're going to give it to, because they're the ones that are not going to get overexcited. You're looking for something middle in, 99% of the time, something to pull.
Now it's 3-2 to Curtis, and he walked him. So back-to-back walks issued by Kohler to start this 6th inning. And the Mets have the table set for Murphy and Wright.
And this is what's been Kohler's problem, is that 1 inning.
And for the Marlins starters in general, what they've been finding is they've been hitting the wall in the 5th and 6th inning. And they've not been able to go deep in games on a regular basis. Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach, out to the mound, and the entire infield will group around him before they pitch to Murphy.
Whenever you've got a sinker ball pitcher and he starts getting the ball up, that's always the yellow warning signs.
Code yellow?
Yes.
Before you get to code red?
Red is DEFCON.
It's too late then.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Cincinnati's up 8-0 on Toronto again. So now Toronto can start. They're in the 4th inning.
A lot of game left.
How about that? 2nd straight night they fall behind 8-0. See if they can come back again.
That would be remarkable.
Yeah, once is pretty remarkable. So here's Murphy, who's been up twice, fly to center field both times. Eric Young at second, Granderson at first with nobody out. That's looking to build on a 1-0 lead in the 6th.
Kohler desperately needs a double play. So what's he going to do? His bread and butter is a sinker. They're giving Murph that hole between short and third. Nah, it's even better. Misses with a breaking ball. He's 1-0. He's struggling. He's walked 2 batters.
You know, you and I talk about this all the time with Murphy. I would have the second baseman keep an eye on Eric Young, not the shortstop.
Absolutely.
I mean, Lucas doesn't have that much range to begin with, and now you're asking him to keep an eye on Eric Young?
This is when there's a double play in order, you can use the whole field, not get a ground ball to get the runner over, because it could be a double play. You got to drive the run in.
Murphy grounds one toward first. The only play for Jones is to the bag, so that moves Young and Granderson to second and third.
So let's see what they do with David Wright, with Lucas Duda behind him. Do they pitch around David?
It's a tough call.
It is a tough call. You got a young pitcher out there. I wouldn't walk him.
Remember the numbers you cited earlier. Kohler's much better against left-hand hitters than he is against right-hand
Correct.
hitters. But it does look as though they're going to pitch to Wright.
So he needs a ground ball. His bread and butter is that sinker.
Chris Hatcher up in the bullpen for Miami. Well, David had the Mets' first hit, a line single to right, and scored the only run of this game. The infield's back. They're going to concede a run on a ground ball. And David flares one into right field for a base hit. That brings in Young. Granderson will be held at third as Stanton gets it in. David Wright, first pitch swinging, drives in a run, and it's 2-0 New York.
Nice little inside out. Tried to throw him the sinker, but the problem is it's belt high. If he gets the sinker down, it has more of a chance to get under the bat. Nice hitting by Dave. Just muscles it out. Stanton with the big arm. Granderson at first wasn't sure whether that line drive was going to be caught. The soft liner.
So a run is in. 2-0 New York. Wright has 2 of the Mets' 3 hits today. And here's Duda, who drew a walk his first time up. Granderson now at third, Wright at first with 1 out. Double play ball if they hurry. Baker to Lucas, and they double up Duda to end the inning. 4-6-3 on the double play, and the Mets will settle for one. Middle of the sixth, 2-0 New York. It's now with a 2-0 lead for Jacob deGrom, who's in search of his first big league win. Jake Marisnick will lead off the Marlins. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, long gone are the days of just simple home and road uniforms for teams in the major leagues. And the Florida Marlins, or the Miami Marlins, pardon me, they've taken it a step further because they don't just have one alternate, they have multiple alternates. At the beginning of every home game, they put out a mannequin in their locker room that has that day's uniform. And so the players, when they come back from batting practice, they look at what uniform they're supposed to wear on the mannequin. They go out and they put that on. Now, it sounds simple enough, doesn't it? Apparently, it's not that simple, though, for some of these guys. I talked to one clubhouse attendant who said that some of these guys, while they always get the top right, they get confused with the bottom because it's very similar. One has orange piping down the side, one has black piping down the side. So they've had instances where, for instance, Giancarlo Stanton hits a home run, and while he's trotting around the bases, his teammates realize he's wearing the wrong pants. He's got to run in and come back and change. Now, you also saw on that mannequin, these guys like to have some fun. Steve Cishek, he bought mustaches. They put a different mustache on the mannequin every day. That was the Hulk Hogan mustache.
Now, if everybody had to match the mustache, that would be difficult. Marisnick gets jammed and fouls it back.
They've got a bunch of mustaches, actually. The Tom Selleck mustache. They have one that is the Charlie Chaplin mustache as well. So they like to have some fun. They've got a whole array of it back in the clubhouse.
Now, wouldn't it be funny if they all came out wearing those mustaches one day?
That would be something else, wouldn't it?
Be like the Oakland A's of the 70s. The swinging A's.
They were the first to start wearing the mustache, grow the hair longer, and the sideburns were in. They started it all. Charlie Finley encouraged it.
Marisnick down on strikes. That's 6 for Jacob deGrom. And he has the first out in the 6th, and that's a big one because it means he'll face Stanton with the bases empty in a 2-0 game. So far, the Mets have done a good job against Stanton in this series. He's 0 for 2 today, 1 for 9 in the 3 games, and the only hit was a bloop single. Well, we showed Giancarlo Stanton's physique before, so we figured we'd match him up with his twin.
That's right. Bring it on. Let's go, John.
Biceps incorporated.
Nothing between you and I but that bar in the middle of that screen.
It's a good thing he's such a nice kid. He might be in trouble. Casey McGee waiting on deck. DeGrom ahead on Stanton, 0-2. Goes low and away. Good news for the Marlins, at least it sounds like good news. Rafael Furcal, who left the game with a leg injury, they are calling it a hamstring cramp. That's about as good as it can possibly be. Drilled into right center field. That'll go up the gap and all the way to the wall. Stanton reaching out and flicking a bullet for his 18th double of the year.
Well, I must say, I've not seen anybody hit line drives like this guy. This is a seed. I mean, he's just so strong. Goliath. Nice hitting. It was not a bad pitch. Down and away.
He's got a totally different style, but the last guy I saw hit line drives to right center like that consistently was Mike Piazza. Totally different style of hitter.
Yes.
But, you know, consistently hitting those bullets. Here's Casey McGee. He takes a curveball for a strike. McGee has walked and hit a double off the center field fence some 418 feet away. He's got a runner in scoring position, and this is where McGee has excelled. .397 this year, second best behind Troy Tulowitzki. Another curve from DeGrom, and it's 0-2.
Oh, DeGrom really impressive today. Now remember, he's a young kid. His 8th start. He's winless, 0-4. The sky could be falling, and really in command. I mean, pitching a tight ball game, 2-0. Really has kept the ball down.
Oh, 2 to McGee. Comes inside. 1-2. Well, McGee right on the doorstep of the lead for highest batting average with runners in scoring position. Nobody's near where Alan Craig was last year when he had .450 with runners in scoring position. Cardinals as a team were just off the charts. 1-2. Strike 3 call. DeGrom paints the outside edge for his 7th strikeout. 2 out.
Beautiful use of the outside corner and knees. Very nice. Look at that driving forward like that. He can. Most impressive is what against right-handers that he can paint that outside corner, and not just the outside corner, but keep it down on the knees.
Now here's Saltalamacchia, who's 0 for 2. There goes the runner. The throw to third, and Stanton's safe, and Wright did well to keep that ball from going down the line.
I don't know what Stanton was trying to steal third for.
Well, he had Wright playing off the line, which I thought for sure he thought he was going to get it easily.
Oh boy, that could have been a run.
Mets gave up a run in that fashion last night when Recker threw one down the line, and Wright looking one way and snagging it the other way. Saves Teagard in the error. So a runner at third with 2 out. And Saltalamacchia had a good cut at the fastball and fouls him back.
A little more oomph on the fastball today than he had in St. Louis also. Very sneaky. When he comes upstairs, or when he comes inside, Gary, he's been coming up and in, tying up hitters.
Again, we have that situation where Wright is about 60 feet off the line, and Stanton's just not taking advantage at all. I mean, he can come down as far as he wants. 0-2 from DeGrom. Lifted to left. Eric Young drifting. Side retired. The Marlins strand another runner in scoring position. 6 scoreless for Jacob DeGrom. 2-0 New York. Ball is brought to you by Kia. See one of the big cruise ships sailing out of the cruise terminal here in Miami and headed out to, I don't know, Key West.
Beginning of South
Bahamas.
Beach on the left, Garrett.
Yep.
Oh, the old Met uniforms.
He's got his Gary Carter Racing Stripes uni going on there. Met fans everywhere, including the front row. Met fans are very resourceful.
Yes, they are.
They are in an enemy ballpark and getting the top seats. Chris Young leads off for the Mets in the 7th. See, more front row Met fans.
Well, there's more than a few seats available.
Chris Young drove in the first run of this game with a bloop single to center in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 2. Flores and Teagarden to follow against Tom Kohler, who's been pretty good for 6 innings. But Jacob deGrom has been better. Kohler 78 pitches through 6. deGrom due up 4th in the inning. And Young takes just off the plate, a ball and a strike. Kohler has struck out 6. He's walked 3. Those walks came back to bite him in the last inning. And Young hits one in the air to left. And Ozuna has it lined up. 1 out.
Much like the fly ball he hit last night in the 9th inning.
Yeah, but Ozuna didn't have to get behind this one.
No.
He was able to style it. Here's Wilmer Flores, who's grounded out and flied out 0 for 2. Jonathan Neese gets the start tomorrow in the final game of the series. Boy, Jonathan has been just wonderful this year. Deserves a lot better than a 3-4 record. Top 10 in the National League in ERA. This last turn through the rotation, the Mets starters have been uniformly terrific. Kohler behind 2-0. And Flores takes a strike.
Both Tejada and Flores, they take swings and just almost like stumble over home plate on their follow through, and that's not good balance. That shouldn't happen.
How do you fix that?
They overswing. Tejada takes too big a swing. It's just not good balance.
Flores drives one deep to center. Marisnick back, and it's over his head and all the way to the wall. Flores will pull in at second with a 1-out double.
Well, he got himself a nice hanger right there.
Third double of the year for Wilmer Flores.
Breaking ball stays, inner half down, stayed in nicely. That's as good as he can hit it. It's a long way out there.
Probably a home run at Citi Field.
Possibly.
A one-out double. That's 4th hit of the game off Kohler, and now Taylor Teagarden, who's grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. Teagarden 0 for 6 in this series. Well, now you got the pitcher deGrom on deck in the 8-hole. So here's a spot where that pitcher in the 8-hole comes into play. If Teagarden makes an out, now you got the pitcher up with 2 out and a runner in scoring position. So every now and again it makes a difference. It's not going to be every time through the batting order. But it's a trade-off. I mean, the Mets probably got their run in the 6th inning because they had a position player hitting 9th. Eric Young got a leadoff walk, came around to score. So it can go both ways. 2-1 to Teagarden. The Miami bullpen getting active as Kohler's about to throw his 90th pitch, and as you saw, there's crickets in the Mets bullpen with DeGrom pitching wonderfully this afternoon. Teagarden swings through the fastball, 2-2. 2-2. Teagarden goes down swinging. Strikeout number 7 for Tom Kohler.
Same pitch, basically 2 pitches up and in. Swung right through him. He really kind of cups that ball. I like this kid. He's got a future.
So DeGrom gets the turn at bat with a runner at second and 2 out. Jacob's been struck out on 3 pitches each of his first 2 at bats. And he takes a curveball for a strike. Brian Morris, who's been terrific for Miami since coming over from the Pirates, gets up in the bullpen. DeGrom got off to such a hot hitting start, but now they're starting to pitch him a little tougher. He's got a lot more breaking balls.
Oh, we see this guy's hitting 400 coming into the game.
Well, he's seen 8 pitches from Kohler today, 8 strikes. Nine for 9, and DeGrom is down on strikes to end the inning. Kohler with 8 strikeouts, matching his career high, but it's DeGrom with the lead, 2-0 in the 7th. It is the neighborhood where Marlins Park resides, Little Havana, right where the old Orange Bowl used to stand, and now the home of the Miami Marlins. Such a great Cuban influence in this city. You feel it everywhere you go, and no more than in this part of town. Garrett Jones leads off in the home 7th. Jacob deGrom and the Mets with a 2-0 lead. Jones has been up twice, struck out both times. And after he tried to bunt a couple of times earlier in the game, David Wright stayed a little closer to the line for the first pitch. Now with 1 strike, he backs off a little more. deGrom has struck out 7, most he's had since he struck out 11 in Philadelphia at the end of May. And he's kept the pitch count down. Just through his 80th pitch at the start of the 7th inning. Marcell Ozuna on deck, Ed Lucas behind him. Changeup fouled off, 1-2. Well, Raul Ibanez, who went to Sunset High School in Miami, looks like he may have reached the sunset of his career. Released by the Angels today at age 42. Adam Wainwright, after skipping a start, back on the beam. He and Cole Hamels 1-1 after 6 in St. Louis. And the Reds up 8-0 again on Toronto for the 2nd straight day. We'll see if they can hold it this time. That game is now in the 6th.
How about Oakland winning again in Boston?
They win every day. It's Jesse Chavez today with a 1-0 lead in the 8th. 2-2 popped up. David Wright alone on the left side, backpedaling. 1 out.
Very impressive, Mr. deGrom. He is not. I'm sorry, Gary. He's not afraid. I love the way he throws his fastball and uses it.
Here's Ozuna, who's grounded out and walked. I was going to say the Mets are going to get no breaks against those A's. They're going to face Sonny Gray on Tuesday night, Scott Kazmir on Wednesday night, and they're both having spectacular years. Ozuna fouls one off his leg. Bartolo Colon will go up against his old team on Tuesday night, so that'll be fun to watch.
That'll be interesting. And Kazmir gets a return to his roots.
Of course, the Mets faced Kazmir last year when he was with the Indians, and he pitched a gem.
I'm looking forward to seeing Cespedes. Get a look at him.
You see the numbers on deGrom so far tonight. Hit hard through the hole, a base hit for Ozuna. Hit number 5 for the Marlins tonight.
He is a cut and slasher, as we call him. That's a nice swing right there. Does not get cheated.
So 1 out and 1 on for Lucas, who was not in the original lineup today. Adeiny Echeverria, a late scratch with a sore elbow, and Lucas has stepped in and gone 2 for 2. Ozuna at first and 1 out. And Lucas takes a slider down for ball 1. Justin Bour has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter. He has pinch hit in each of the first 2 games of this series. The only left-handed bat on Mike Redmond's bench. And Lucas lays off, and deGrom behind 2-0. Let's get the bullpen cranking for the first time. Carlos Torres, the right-hander. Dana Evelyn, the left-hander.
And Gary mentioned the other night how the best shape the Met bullpen has been in a while. So why? Because the pitchers have been going deep. Really saves the bullpen when pitchers can go deep in the ball games.
8 innings from Colon Wednesday, 9 innings from Wheeler on Thursday. Bouncing ball, just foul. Just trouble. Missed a double.
That was trouble. That's what I don't like. Like guarding the line. That's the tying run at the plate. You're in the 7th inning. David way off the line.
By the way, that call is not reviewable because it's a fair foul call in front of the umpire. If it were behind the umpire, it would be reviewable. Lance Barrett, the third base umpire, making that call. 2-1 to Lucas with Ozuna at first and 1 out. Lifted to right, and Granderson right there waiting. 2 out. Well, DeGrom keeps getting the big outs when he needs them. So now with 2 away, Justin Bour will be the pinch hitter. So Tom Kohler is done after 7. Pitched well, but behind in the game as he takes his exit. Bour pinch hit on Thursday and flied out. Pinch hit again last night and drew a walk. So Kohler getting handshakes from his catcher.
Well,
and hoping the Marlins can rally for him here in the 7th.
Not much you can do when you don't get any run support. These are 2 teams that have been struggling to score.
The Marlins for most of the year have been one of the top scoring teams in the National League. They're 4th in the league in runs scored.
Well, they miss Yelich, the top of the order. And they have just got Saltalamacchia back. There's Christian.
So here is Bour, big slugging left-hand batter. Ozuna at first and 2 out. And DeGrom's 90th pitch of the day is up and away for ball 1. By the way, talking about the Oakland A's coming into Citi Field Tuesday to make them even more substantial, they may be getting Josh Reddick back from the disabled list just in time for that series. He's been out with a knee injury. Makes them even more potent. There's a call, strike 1-1.
Well, I tell you what, I know I've been redundant here, but all I can say is knees and black. Just hitting those low in the strike zone, keeping the ball down.
1-1 coming to Bour, and that's up and away, 2-1. Well, he's certainly pitched well enough to win on numerous occasions in his short major league career. He's only gone 7 innings once, and that was in his first start against the Yankees, a game he lost 1-0. And now he's behind on Bour, 3-1. So I don't know whether Terry Collins would be inclined to push him any farther than this if he can't get Bour out in this spot. That's why he's got Torres and Evelyn ready. Jeff Baker is the on-deck batter. (3-1) coming, and Bour swings and misses at the sinker. 3-2. He certainly looks unfazed, and he has right from the start.
Very poised. I mean, he's nursing a 2-run lead here, tying around at the plate. A guy with pop, and he goes right after him. 3-1. I love it.
DeGrom has walked 2. He struck out 7. Ozuna gets set to run. 3-2 coming to Bour. Just outside, ball 4. Tried to backdoor him, didn't get the call, and now the tying runs are on base. 3rd walk given up by DeGrom, and we'll see what Terry Collins decides to do.
He's going to stick with him, it looks like, and I agree. That ball just missed. And very fortunate. You've got Furcal, who was injured earlier in the game, is not up. The veteran left-hand switch hitter. And Furcal.
So you've got Ozuna at second, Bour the tying run at first. Baker came in for Furcal, who left with a hamstring cramp. Broke his bat and flied to right and is only at bat in the 5th. So DeGrom trying to get through the 7th. He's pitched out of trouble 3 innings in a row. Can he do it again? Down to Brett Butler, the third base coach. 0-1. Well, the last couple of starts, DeGrom was never able to stop the bleeding, but he's turned that completely around today. He's gotten all the big outs he's had to. Stranded runners in scoring position each of the last 3 innings. Driven to right, but right at Granderson, and the side retired. Hard hit ball from Baker, but in the right spot, and DeGrom has 7 scoreless innings under his belt. 2-0 New York heading to the 8th. Honda, start something special with a great deal on a Honda now at your Honda dealer. Come inside Marlins Park with the roof closed today. There is the famous home runs sculpture designed by Red Grooms. The fish tank behind home plate. This is a ballpark very much of its location. This ballpark could not exist anywhere else except Miami, Florida.
And then there's a Clevelander.
See the dancers dancing. Now Jacob deGrom sidestepping trouble, 4 straight innings, and gets the handshakes after a terrific performance. 7 scoreless innings, matched his career high for innings pitched. And now we'll see if his teammates can secure this one for him. This will come up against the Miami bullpen as we go to the 8th. Chris Hatcher will come into pitch.
Well, since his call-up, look at those strikeouts, folks. He struck out the 12 of his last 17 batters faced. It's over a 4-game span of 4 2/3 innings. He's a converted catcher. He's been up before, hard thrower, kind of a diamond in the rough, but a power pitcher.
So he comes in to face Eric Young, leading off in the 8th inning. EY serving as the number 9 hitter, and that worked out for the Mets in the 6th inning. Drew a leadoff walk, stole a base, and scored the 2nd New York run. It'll be EY followed by Granderson and Murphy, and then if anybody gets on, David Wright. Hatcher's had several cups of coffee with the Marlins over the last few years. Strokes right at the shortstop Lucas, and he throws out Young one away. Hatcher's never been able to stick before. He's never pitched in more than the 11 games he's thrown in this year for Miami. But his performance has improved. And, you know, as you mentioned, Keith, he's a guy who did not start out as a pitcher. So even at age 29, he's still developing. Hatcher the catcher. Granderson has struck out twice and drawn a walk today, 0 for 2. 46 walks now for Curtis. He's in the top 3 in the National League in drawing walks. His on-base percentage up around 350. Jerry's Familia looks like he'll pitch in the bottom of the 8th. Oh, 0-2 to Granderson with Murphy on deck. And he bounces one foul. Good outing for Tom Kohler. That's never seemed to hit him very hard. Kohler 7 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts.
Look at the RBI bloop single in the 4th. That gave the Mets the 1-0 lead off the bat of Chris Young. And then David Wright drove in the 2nd run in the 6th, and that's after Kohler walked the first 2 batters of the inning. It's Murph with a rare 0-for so far.
Oh, 2 to Granderson is upstairs. Two teams at the top of the division. The Braves and Nationals will go at it again tonight with Julio Teheran against Doug Fister as Granderson lifts one to center. And Marisnick right there. Atlanta just beats Washington every time they play them. Last night they blew a lead in the 9th inning. No matter, they won it in the 13th. 24 of the last 31 meetings the Braves have beaten the Nationals, and with the win last night they regained first place. Here's the numbers on DeGrom this afternoon. And now he can only sit and wait and see if the bullpen can get him 6 outs and his first big league win. Murphy 0 for 3 today. And he hits one softly. Lucas has to circle in on it. And a close play got him by an eyelash. Side retired. So Hatcher comes in and throws a 1-2-3 top of the 8th. Mets will send it off to the bullpen. Trying to secure a win for by Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better. And Jacob deGrom certainly enjoyed this day better.
Well, his 8th start, winless, 0-4. Just on the corners, as you can see, all these highlights here. Everything is down and on the corners. Just mixing up his pitches beautifully. Outstanding job.
7 scoreless innings, 5 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts for deGrom, who lowered his ERA from 4.39 to 3.75 as you look at the Chevy line score. Mets with a 2-0 lead as they hand it off to Jeurys Familia for the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Familia's been outstanding.
He worked a 1-2-3 inning yesterday. Worked the bottom of the 8th in that game. Got helped out by a tremendous defensive play behind him from Ruben Tejada. He'll come in to face 2, 3, and 4 in the Marlins batting order, and that makes the first batter he faces even more important than usual in a 2-0 game because behind Marisnick is Giancarlo Stanton.
Yep. You want him to come up with nobody on.
Marisnick's got 0 for 3 today. Struck out twice and flied to center. Stanton and McGee to follow. Marlins no runs and 5 hits. The Mets 2 runs and 4 hits as we start the bottom of the 8th. And Marisnick takes the fastball low and in for ball 1. that man looming.
Good pitch.
He's got some nasty stuff, doesn't he?
He sure does. He's got a sinker right there, which you just saw. And he's also got a four-seamer where he can throw in straight. And he's got the wicked slider. And he throws hard.
Just getting better and better. Guy who came up through the Mets farm system as a starting pitcher. And they figured out last year that he was probably better off in shorter bursts, that he'd probably be able to add a couple of miles an hour on his fastball, and it's worked exactly that way for Familia. It's just a matter of being able to harness the command.
Well, he'll 15 walks in 36 and 2/3 innings. Walks have always been a problem for him. That's a big improvement.
2-1 to Marisnik. Fouls one at the plate. 2-2. Well, DeGrom matched his career high by going 7 innings. The last time he did that, remember, he got matched up against Masahiro Tanaka, and it was on the wrong end of a 1-0 score. This time on the front end, and now has to sweat his way through 6 outs. 2-2. Breaking ball fouled off. The Blue Jays have begun their comeback. It's now 8-1 Cincinnati in the 7th.
Okay.
Two from Familia. Struck him out. 97-mile-an-hour sinker to get Marisnik for the first out.
Boy, Marisnik hasn't been in the game long enough to be screaming and yelling after every strikeout.
They don't throw pitches like that in AAA.
He's got the sombrero going. 3 punches.
So that means that Stanton can't tie it. He drilled a double to right center his last time up. 1 for 3 on the day, 2 for 10 in the series. And that was just an enormous out for Familia. And he bounces the first offering to Stanton.
Well, you can go after Stanton now. He can't beat you. You go after him anyway, but you don't have that thought in the back of your mind. If I make one mistake, he's going to tie this ball game up. He is incapable of tying this game up.
He's capable of a lot, just not that. 20 home runs this year to lead the National League, 57 RBIs to lead the National League. Second in slugging percentage, 8th in on base percentage, and the hardest hit balls of any human being alive. Curveball ripped, and David Wright with an extraordinary stop, and Duda can't make the handle at the other end. You will never see a better pickup by an infielder than the one that David Wright just made on a scorching one-hopper off the bat of Stanton.
This is a bullet, and it's a terrific play. He had a little more time to get set. The ball's hit this hard. David's arm has been just not strong, and Duda's footwork is atrocious there.
Well, they're going to charge an error on Wright.
It has to be. It is an error.
Because if he hadn't gotten to his feet and set himself, then they probably would have given him a hit. But because he was able to right himself after making that incredible stop, they have to charge an error, his second of the game, both on balls hit by Stanton. So the tying run comes to bat with Casey McGee, and he takes low for ball 1. The first error on Wright was when he tried to backhand a ball by Stanton, and it trickled under his glove. Do you remember a player who played first base for the Mets about 10 years ago named Jason Phillips?
Yes.
That's how Jason Phillips made stretches at first base.
With the glasses.
Exactly. That was a Jason Phillips-esque effort by Lucas Duda, but he was unable to make the connection. 1-0 to McGee, who's 1 for 2 and a walk, and he swings over the fastball 1-1.
Well, Duda's late getting to the bag, and the footwork is, well, let's just say they're not going to have that on the newsreels for clinic tapes.
Well, lucky he didn't get stepped on.
Really.
Too. One and 1 to McGee. Everything down 2-1. Well, we're accustomed to seeing pitchers throw 95 miles an hour, and we have an idea what that means. They have calculated the speed of the ball hit by Stanton. 108.5 miles per hour.
And how would they calculate that, Gary?
Well, they've got all that machinery available to them now. But it just gives you an idea of how extraordinary that play by David Wright was to stop that ball.
Could be a double play. Flores gets it to Murphy and on to first. Duda with a stretch. He stayed on the bag. Double play, side retired. Little hesitation by Flores, but it doesn't cost the Mets. And they're able to turn the 6-4-3 double play to overcome the error. We may have a review as Mike Redmond has come out onto the field a little bit tardy. He's supposed to be out there within 10 seconds. I'm not sure he was. And the Mets had already run off the field. So he's going to look in the dugout and see whether they want to review. I'm not sure which part of the play he would want to review. Would it be whether Duda stayed on the bag?
Yes.
See the little handcuff there by Flores.
I think he's on the bag. Let's see.
Certainly can't say he wasn't, and they are not going to challenge.
Right. Inconclusive.
So the double play stands. 8 scoreless innings for the Mets,
and a 2-0 lead going to the 9th. Off in the top of the 9th. This is real time. David making that pickup at third on Stanton's ball. That's the play of the game, brought to you by the 2014 Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. Great stop by Wright, but not great connectivity.
Well, he had good connectivity on the catch.
David is 2 for 3 today at the plate. Twice a single to right. He's driven in a run. He's scored a run. That's got a run in the 4th after Kohler had retired the first 11. Wright singled and scored on Chris Young's hit. He hits another ball to right. This one down toward the corner, and it's a fair ball. Right on his way to second, and he pulls in with his third hit of the day, an opposite field double. 17th double of the year for David Wright as the Mets look for insurance in the ninth.
Up and away, going that way the whole night, David. And signs of an awakening. And it has been a long slumber for Dave. Longest slump of his career.
Well, he had a 2 for 43 stretch. Now over the last 6 games, he's 10 for 23 with 5 extra base hits. So it has certainly turned around for David Wright. So now Duda will try and make something of it. Let's go back to that play in the last inning.
Well, they didn't challenge. And this is, watch Lucas's toes. I talked the other day about being on the side of the bag for the maximum stretch. That's how it's done. That's perfectly done. Nicely done, Lucas. That makes up for the one prior.
Good stop by Saltalamacchia. 1-1 to Duda. Lucas today 0 for 2 and a walk, hitless in his last 8 at bats. Chris Young, who has an RBI today, waits on deck. Each team with 5 hits. Mets able to scratch out single runs in the 4th and 6th. 7 scoreless innings for DeGrom, 1 for Familia, 3 more outs to get. Duda drives one to deep right field. Stanton looking up near the wall, and it's out of here. Lucas Duda with a 2-run homer. There's your insurance, and it's 4-0 New York. Number 10 for Lucas Duda.
And there's your 4 runs.
First time in 8 games that the Mets have scored as many as 4 runs in a game, as Duda gives them some breathing room.
Well, an 0 for 8 for Lucas. Snapped. Jacob deGrom winless in his 8th start. That gives a nice cushion in the 9th.
Making the Met fans who made the road trip very happy. Chris Young fouls off the first pitch from Hatcher.
I bet you it's a fastball from the hard thrower, and Lucas right in his wheelhouse. Full extension. And this is a big ballpark. Anytime you hit a home run here, I don't care where you hit it.
Off the glove of Hatcher. Tough play now, and Baker has to put it in his pocket. It's an infield hit for Chris Young. His 2nd hit of the day.
Wanted a fastball in, and it bled right down the old pipe, folks. Right like you're surfing in that tube, right down the pipe.
Not the half pipe. Wilmer Flores doubled to deep center field his last time up. Now Henry Mejia had already begun to throw with a 2-0 lead, and he's continuing to throw with a 4-0 lead. So it looks like Henry will get the 9th even without a save chance in the balance.
Well, the last time Henry pitched, he was lifted in St. Louis, the final game of that series. Evelyn came in and saved the game. So he hasn't worked in a couple days.
Breaking ball off the plate from Hatcher, 1-0. Well, Hatcher worked a 1-2-3/8 inning, but trouble has found him here in the 9th. Right with the opposite field double. Duda a 2-run homer. Young with a single off Hatcher's glove. Still nobody out.
The crowd has come to life.
That's all the Met fans.
You're darn right it is.
They have traveled well. Fooled badly. A ball and a strike to Flores.
Well, remember, Gary, these are important divisional games. Start playing in the division, they matter.
Well, especially with the division as tight as it is.
Absolutely.
Everybody's alive.
Yep.
Marlins start the day 1 game out of first place. The Mets, even though they're in last place, only 5.5 back. Flores lifts one to right, easy for Stanton. And that's the first out of the inning. So 1 out and 1 on. Now Taylor Teagarden, who's been up 3 times today, grounded out, struck out twice, 0 for 7 in the series. Phillies have gone to the bottom of the 8th in St. Louis, tied 1-1. Cole Hamels still in there.
I tell you what, the Phillies are on fire.
They've won 5 in a row, 9 of their last 11. After A.J. Burnett threw a complete game last night, beating St. Louis.
Well, that means he was throwing strikes, Gary.
Yeah, I think he only struck out a couple. Gave up 7 hits, but was able to go the distance. Pretty good at age 37. Slider in for a strike to Teagarden. Pitcher spot due up next. Bobby Abreu was out on deck to pinch hit. Bobby started last night, had a hit. Saltalamacchia makes the stop, 1-1. You know what would be hard? If we were doing a hockey game and Saltalamacchia was the goalie.
Oh.
And you had to say his name every time he made a save.
Yes.
Kick save. Saltalamacchia.
You'd have to call him Salty.
It was much easier doing Dominic Hasek. Teagarden lays off, and he stopped it in time, 2-1.
Boy, what was wrong with that pitch? All in all, Ron Kolpa behind the plate has had an excellent night calling balls and strikes. He's been right on. Outstanding job behind the plate. Number 46 in your heart.
And on his sleeve. Boy, Teagarden's had a rough afternoon. 2-2. Taylor's Mets career got off to a scintillating start with an opposite field grand slam in his first game as a Met, but he's had trouble making contact since. Just 4 hits in 27 at bats in his tenure. Red Sox tied up that game with Oakland. They're 1-1 going to the bottom of the 9th at the Coliseum.
Red Sox kind of had their little run, didn't they? And they've kind of slowed down.
6 games under 500 now. 2-2. Teagarden fouls back the 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Chris Young at first with 1 out. And Teagarden hits one down to third. Could be 2 if they hurry. Baker with a turn, not in time. Just not hit hard enough. So they get the 5-4 force on Young for the second out.
And that gets Bobby Abreu AB. I'm sure Bobby will be in the lineup tomorrow.
Mets will be facing the New Jersey native Anthony DeSclafani tomorrow. Abreu started last night, went 1 for 3. Pinch hitting has not exactly been his high note. He's just 2 for 19 as a pinch hitter.
It's been a high note for Eric Campbell.
Yep.
He has been outstanding.
That hit last night that kind of got lost in the shuffle with all the controversy. Drove in a run, would have been 2 if Wright had been called safe at the plate.
Got to think he's 500 as a pinch hitter. Let me take a look.
Something like that.
He's got 5 hits off the pine. I know that.
I think it's 5 for 10. I think you're right.
I'll check that.
Very impressive for a guy without a lot of big league experience.
Absolutely. Pinch hitting is not an easy job.
I mean, the best pinch hitters are usually guys who have been around a long time.
Veterans. He's 5 for 10 as a pinch hitter, Mr. Campbell, with 2 ribeye steaks in there.
You know, the Rusty Staubs, the Ed Crane Pools, the guys who have figured it out over the years.
Rick Monday.
Lenny Harris, of course.
Yeah.
More pinch hits than anybody in history. And
we can get more
that record as a Met. 0-2 to Abreu, and he goes down on strikes to end the inning. But the Mets get a big blow. A 2-run homer from Lucas Duda, his 10th of the year. First Met in double figures in home runs this season. And the Mets take a 4-0 lead at the bottom of the 9th in Miami. Final game of the series tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The Mets and the Marlins on New York's Pix 11. Jonathan Neese goes tomorrow against Anthony DeSclafani, but right now it's Henry Mejia to pitch the bottom of the 9th with a 4-0 lead.
And Henry, as we said, his last outing was in St. Louis. He got lifted in a save situation. 2 outs in the 9th. Terry Collins opted for Eblin, the left-hander, to get the big Grizz out, as he's called in St. Louis. Matt Adams.
Grizzly Adams. Jared Saltalamacchia will lead off in the 9th for the Marlins. The Marlins, before this series, had only been shut out 3 times all season. But Zach Wheeler shut him out on Thursday night with a complete game 1-0 performance. And now the Mets bidding for the shutout this afternoon as well. Saltalamacchia 0 for 3 today, and he takes a knee-high strike. Saltalamacchia, Garrett Jones, and Marcelo Zuna for the Marlins in the bottom of the 9th. Mets got swept a 3-game series the first time they were here this year, and they were shut out twice. Into the shift, and there's Flores on the right side to throw out Saltalamacchia, 1 away. Now the Mets are trying to take the lead in this series and trying to get 2 shutouts of their own.
How about that?
Payback.
James Brown. The big payback.
Garrett Jones 0 for 3 today, 2 strikeouts and a pop-up. He's 0 for 8 in the series, a series in which he thought he had a 2-run homer. Circled the bases, they put the runs on the board. And that's been his only bright spot. They took the 2 runs down, and he hasn't had a hit yet. Strike call. In a perfect world, Terry Collins would love to see Mejia have a very quick inning to make him fully available for tomorrow's series finale. Especially with Familia now having thrown back-to-back days. By the way, they've changed the scoring on that ball that Stanton hit in the last inning. They've now given him a base hit and taken away Wright's error. Another ball into the shift. This one for Duda to play. Mejia covers, 2 down. So 2 up and 2 quickly set aside by Henry Mejia. So the Marlins are down to their final out, which means that Jacob deGrom's fingernails have just a little bit of chewing left.
For his first major league double.
Ozuna takes a strike. Marcell Ozuna 1 for 2 and a walk today. Seven scoreless innings for deGrom.
Quick pitch.
Familia scoreless 8th, and now Mejia trying to make quick work of the Marlins in the 9th. They're down to their final strike. 0-2 to Ozuna. And he bounces the breaking ball, 1-2. One-two for Mejia, and the curveball outside. 2-2.
He certainly loves his breaking ball, doesn't he?
He's got a whole repertoire. He's got a starter's assortment, working in a closing role. 2-2 to Ozuna. Too high. So after getting ahead 2 strikes, Mejia goes full. Ed Lucas would be next. Cardinals just took the lead on the Phillies with a run in the bottom of the 8th. 2-1 St. Louis. Three and 2 on the way, and he walked him, and so the Marlins are alive. A 2-out walk to Ozuna, who's on base for the 3rd time today. And a turn for Ed Lucas. Late addition to the starting lineup today when Adeiny Echeverria was scratched with a sore elbow, and so Lucas has stepped in and gone 2 for 3. Reed Johnson has come out on deck. He'll pinch hit if Lucas is able to keep it going. There's Johnson, the Met killer. He really is. Mets will not hold against Ozuna. And Lucas takes high, ball 1. Coming up next on Pix 11, it's Family Guy. And on SNY, it's WB Mason post game live. You want to hear all about Jacob deGrom's day. One 1-0 to Ed Lucas. There's a strike.
It's like the guys in the field right now are saying, come on, Henry, just throw strikes. Let's get us in the clubhouse. We've been out here for almost 3 hours. Let's get it inside.
1-1 coming. And the breaking ball, he went around, strike 2. Mostly they're waiting to shake the hand of the guy with the shaggy hair.
That's right.
One-two for Mejia. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Jacob deGrom has his first major league victory. In his 8th try, deGrom goes 7 scoreless innings,
Familia and Mejia finish up, and the Mets have their second shutout in this series as they beat the Marlins 4-0.
Well,